Did the break at the weekend come at the wrong time, having won your first two league games?
I don't think so. I think we had quite a hectic start to the season with the Betfred games and then straight into the league as well. This has given us a chance to get some of the boys that maybe weren't quite fit yet, or a couple of injuries over that, or improve their fitness level. So we're looking forward to the game on Saturday. In my opinion, it's a very, very big game for us, and we need to make sure that we get in there and get 3 points.
Only 2 games in, like I say, but do you feel that you've laid a marker down? You've certainly set the bar high, haven't you?
Well, I think that the first month of the season was when the fixtures came out. We knew it was going to be a tough start. We knew it was an opportunity to, if we could, pick up a decent amount of points, put a marker down. I think we've done half of that. We've got 6 points out of 6, but we now go East End Park, which I think will be tough. I think having seen Dunfermline, they'll be definitely in the top 4 this season. They'll be one of the top teams the way they play, and then obviously we've got Dundee the following Friday. So the next 2 games for us are extremely important.
Yeah, it's all about momentum, isn't it? Build up a real head of steam and try and keep it going.
Yeah, I think it's just about getting points on the board, to be honest with you. I mean, the more wins you can get, you start putting pressure on other teams, and you start building that confidence within your own team, within the club as well, and the feel-good factor comes. So we've managed to do that the first 2 games, but I think this weekend for me is really important that we don't take our eye off the ball at all with a derby coming. I
guess every week, whoever you're playing, they'll see you as a scalp, won't they? That brings its own pressures.
Yeah, it does. There's no doubt in that. I think for ourselves and Dundee are the 2 teams that most teams are looking at when the fixtures come out, and it's the teams that want to play, coming to big stadiums with bigger crowds. So we just have to handle that. We've handled it in the first 2 games very well. We've done a really good performance against Inverness at home, and then a battling performance at Partick. We had to come from behind. So I'm pleased with the first 2, but there's still a long way to go.
Certainly things happening on the pitch, a lot of good things happening off the pitch as well, including the club's efforts to try and tie up the most talented youngsters on long-term deals. That's a real statement of intent for the future.
Yeah, definitely. I think we've got a decent group of young players coming through. I think they've shown that they've got potential, and there's still a long way to go for them. But we feel that the values of the club are to bring in these young players and give them an opportunity and try and progress them. I think it's always been in the kind of history of Dundee United that that's what they do. I think we lost our way a wee bit over the last few years, where there's not been as many coming through. But now we feel we've got a good group, and it's important that we get them tied up, not just for ourselves, but also for the players, to give them that little bit of security, and they can just concentrate on their football.
And you mentioned injuries a few moments ago. What's the latest? Anything?
Oh, good. We've got a full squad to pick from. We've got a reserve game today, so there'll be a number of the first team players will play in that, and then back into training again, ready for Saturday.
And how important is that to have everybody pushing and competition for places?
Yeah, for me, it's always about what you've got on the bench in these games, in any game, to be honest with you. If you can turn around at 50-60 minutes and you've got 2 or 3 guys that can come on and really impact the game, it makes a massive difference. We've got that at the moment. It's important that we try and keep that. At big times in the season where we have 3, 4, 5, 6 injuries. It's just part and parcel of it, but we have to make sure that the wins that then come in after that are ready as well, and that's why the reserve games for us are very important today, that we go strong and we make sure that we keep it fit.
Momentum and consistency is really all that you can ask for within a season. It's lacked in previous seasons. Is that what we're going to see from Dundee United this year?
Yeah, look, that's what we're hoping for. But I'm pretty sure the previous managers have said exactly that as well. We have to go and prove it. We have to go and make sure that it's not just about turning up on a Saturday. It's about doing it every day in training. It's something we try and reiterate to the players. It's every minute you're on the training field, every minute you're in your home life looking after yourself. That the whole focus is about getting better and improving to keep that consistency. Look, we've managed to do it for 2 games, but there's a long season. I have 34 games to go, so we have to just keep doing it and keep doing it.
Certainly been 2 very different games. I mean, the second game against Partick Thistle is one that perhaps in previous outings might not have gone the same way.
I actually thought the Partick Thistle game we played well. There was a wee period in the first half where I thought when we lost the goal against the run of play, kind of lost our way a wee bit, but in the second half we were pretty dominant. I always felt we were going to go and win the game, and I have that confidence in the players, and the players that are going to come off the bench as well, that they can impact it. And there'll be times in the season when it doesn't work out for us and we drop points, but you know, overall, as long as the players work hard and they try their best and they give their utmost when they're out there, that's all you can ask, and if they do that, they'll win the majority of games.
You mentioned about people coming off the bench and making an impact. Certainly Peter Pawlett did that. How's things been progressing for him? Because he was obviously had a couple of injury problems at the start of the season.
Yeah, look, he missed just about all the pre-season, to be honest with you, because he got a knee injury in the Inverness game in the playoffs, the first one. Struggled through those two games and then in the playoff final as well. So we'd hoped that it would be a case of just resting it over the summer and coming back, but he came back pre-season, it was still there, we had to rest him again. You know, so he's only really probably trained the last 2 weeks, but you see the quality he brings. You know, for us it's keeping him fit and getting him as match fit as we can, as quickly as we can without overloading him, and that's why, you know, probably take a little bit of time to get him there.
You've spoken about Dunfermline and the threat that they're going to pose this season. What are you expecting when you go to East End Park on Saturday?
I'm expecting them to be very energetic, and I think they've signed well with Nesbitt up front. And I think he's come in from Wraith and he looks like a good player, goal scorer, links the game well. Then they've got good energy behind them, you know, with Dow, Coley, Turner, these guys, Beadling as well. So I think it will be 100 mile an hour for the first probably 30-35 minutes, and then it'll die down and it'll start again in the second half. So, you know, having watched their games, they're very start the game well. We have to make sure that we start it well as well.
Yeah, they were I'm just about nearly everything I was going to ask. Dunfermline obviously didn't have the season that they proved wanted last year, but Stevie Crawford, for a young coach like yourself, he seems to have really hit the ground running and recruited very well.
Yeah, I think he's brought energy into the team. You know, I've known Stevie for a long time, and I speak to him now and again. He spoke over the summer and said that's what he wanted to do, is bring, you know, energy and pace into the team, and he's certainly done that. He's certainly done that with the wider areas and the striker departments as well. You know, they've got great energy. You see that in the games they've played. You know, a wee bit different on Saturday when we went to Parkhead, but defended very well and be disappointed when we take it really from the game. You know, so we know that it's going to be tough. It always is down there. It's going to be a lot tougher than it has been in recent years, because they brought that quality and that energy in, but also they've got a wee bit of momentum as well.
You've got a number of players out on loan. One obviously up at Cove, Declan Glass seems to be in the right team. I know he was away on loan last year, but Airdrie weren't maybe performing quite at the end of the league that Ian would have wanted them to be. He seems to be on fire at the moment.
Yeah, he's doing well. He's doing very well. You know, so I know Paul really well. You know, he'd been on at me kind of right through the summer about trying to get Matty Smith as well, who's went up just this week as well. So, you know, I think it's important when you put, you know, players in, you put them into an environment and the type of team that's going to suit them. You know, and having spoke to Paul, the way they play, the way they're going to play in that league, you know, they're going to be pretty dominant most weeks, I would think. You know, so it gives Declan and Matty the chance to get, you know, higher up the pitch, shots at goal, you know, do the things that we want them to do. And to be fair to Declan, he's no short of confidence, the boy, and this has definitely added to it.